It's the Inquisitor, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to play Fang using 5 simple and easy tips. Tip number 1. Using your attack. Okay, so Fang's shot is basically a melee strike that flings off into a shoe if you miss a target. Okay, now the shoe does 1/4 the damage of Fang's basic shots, but it will load the same as his attack, which is very important of the super because his super is very powerful and you need to get it as fast as possible. Now, aiming your attack is really daunting because there's no aim past your regular melee strike. So my tip for you is to guess where they're going and then aim your shot like that. But remember that the shoe does not move the fastest, so you might need to adjust. It's very hard to aim, but you only need a few shots to load it. So, and once you load the super, the shot's really good, and at melee it's much better than at far range. Don't be too conservative about your ammo because he reloads it very fast. Try to hit choke points and also hit large crowds because it's easier to hit a target when there's many enemies. You might not notice, but Fang's attack can only hit one target at a time. So in large crowds, he's not the best in close range. Try to stay behind walls while you're shooting and shoot past walls because it's easier to aim when you're lining up your attack next to a wall. Tip 2. Timing your super. Fang's super is very good and very deadly, but there are some costs and some weaknesses when it comes to Fang's super. Fang's super, while he is basically a long dash, and if he hits any enemy within the range, he's going to jump to, meaning that he can chain really long amounts, but he's also pretty much defenseless. So timing your super is very important. When you time it, when you're practically max health. If you have the 2nd star power equip, try to have the shield while you time it. And just saying, it doesn't really matter if you aim your super, if you hit your super or not. It's all about the timing. Fang's super is very good, but if you're low health or have low ammo, it's not really worth the dash because it's very hard to load fast. So you have to stay back, let them come to you, let them waste the ammo, then strike, then go back out again. Your super is very good, like I said, but you need to time it perfectly if you want to get a kill. Tip 3. Using your super. While super timing is very important about knowing when to strike on an enemy, it's also very important to know what's going to actually happen when you use a super. Fang's super is really strong, but kind of unpredictable since you really only know the first jump, the first dash, and you don't know where he's going to go next. So predicting where your super is going to go is very important. Fang's super is very long range and pretty wide, meaning that it's really easy to hit a target. But remember, don't be afraid to use it if the enemy's not nearby. Also try to predict where it's gonna go. See, I just missed my super, but it's not really a big deal since he can get out just as fast and he can attack someone who's really close by. So I wouldn't be too scared about missing your super. But you should try to hit your super at all times because that extra damage is really helpful. Now, Using your super is also very important because of the chaining you can do. You can bounce between 2 targets or more if you use your super right. Using a super is very important, and you have to know when the effect is going to happen. Now that was not so good of me because I just went too far away from the goal, and they might get a free goal. Now, see, the super range, the bouncing range is shorter than you think. It's not the same as the super, but this Fang is really good. Okay, so these guys are... Be pretty conservative about using your super, but while aiming the super, it's not really bad. And you need to know how far apart they need to be when using your super. Now, Fang super is very long range and can be pretty hard to aim right. But using your super is very important. And don't use your super all the time. Use it when it's a really important, like really easy kill. You know you can finish it off. Fang is really good close range, and his super can do that for him. So don't really worry about the chaining as much as you think you should. And also know where you're going to hit. I knew that the Fang was within the range of the penny and not the Brock, so I can actually stop that Fang from getting the ball. So know if there's 2 targets, know which one's closer and which one you're actually going to jump to, because you're probably not going to jump again. And also, if you bounce against enemies really nearby, you can do a lot of damage to both of them. Tip 4. Using your star powers and gadgets. Fang has a really impressive kit of star powers and gadgets lined up. As of right now, I'm currently using the 2nd star power, which is, I think, a very underrated star power. Every 3 seconds, he gets a shield that reduces the next hit by 500 damage. It's really good because you can actually be less conservative about your health because you know you're going to get that shield very fast. Fang's first star power is instantly loads your super if you hit an enemy. That is the better star power because Fang's super is very hard to load. And if you have that star power equipped, then you should not care as much about carefully planning your super for a large crowd of enemies, because you will get it instantly if you kill an enemy. Fang's gadgets are really good for area denial, as you see right here. It will block enemies from going and can kill off really weak health enemies. It's really good because enemies can't come near you, and it works perfectly against bushes and invisibility because it's basically a minefield. It's good for getting enemies off your tracks and to do an extra bit of damage behind walls while you're camping to avoid them from charging up to you. It's really good and will help you get a little damage for that win. Tip 5. What modes you should be playing. If you're ever looking to push Fang at higher ranks or higher trophies, there's a few modes where you have to do it in. And one of them, and the most important one, is Brawl Ball. Fang is really dominant in Brawl Ball because he can pull off a lot of chains since everyone's really close together. Plus, Fang's super allows him to cover large distances and get the ball fast. If you play with teammates that you know or clubmates, it's much easier because they can help you get that ball into that goal. And Fang's gadget allows them from charging that ball into the goal because of how much area it covers, and it can protect your charge with the ball. Fang is also really good in bounty, especially long range ones, because that flying boot gives him a lot of extra range, and his super can cover so much distances. He just did the biggest mistake ever. He did not predict where his super was gonna go. Now, like bounty, Fang is also really good in its counterpart, knockout, mainly because he can get a lot of kills with his chaining, and he can get back-to-back kills really easily with his really fast reload speed. Fang is not the best in Showdown, mainly because there's no one to chain to really, and he might be okay in jump grab, but I won't suggest playing him in any other mode, because in heist he can't do much heist safe damage. Well, those are 5 easy and simple tips you need to know if you want to start getting good and how to play Fang. This is the Inquisitor signing off.